Thank you all for being here. We have a very good panel coming up. So can I ask each of my panelists to kind of quickly introduce themselves and their company a little bit, and then we'll find out if the on-demand video star age is upon us. So should we start with Ray?
Yeah, sure. I'm Ray. I'm CEO and co-founder of NightGet. NightGet, what we do is we make people happy. Yeah, and the nature of the company is more like a new kind of media company because we are a media company, but we don't create any content. Yeah, we distribute the content submitted by our users onto our web, onto our apps, onto our social media like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
And
I'm Janice Lee. I'm the managing director of PCCW Media Group. We used to entertain consumers in Hong Kong through pay TV, which is Now TV, and our free TV service, View TV. But since 18 months ago, we're now entertaining our viewers across Southeast Asia, Middle East, and India in about 20 markets with about 10 million subscribers.
I'm Diane Yu, co-founder and CTO of Freewheel. We co-founded Freewheel about 10 years ago, and we started with a mission to help the video content to reach the consumer as much as possible. So we're a video monetization technology platform company. 3 years ago, we were acquired by Comcast. Now we're focusing on helping Comcast to building the technology platform serving the video industry.
Okay. So, Janice, let me start the conversation with you because PCCW is playing both sides here. You have traditional pay TV services and also on demand. So, can you talk about sort of the challenges of trying to balance both of these?
Yeah. So one is actually not separated from the other. Love the heading. It's TV dead and new video stars. We're really on both sides of it. So we've tried to kept up and evolve the traditional pay TV service, Now TV, with a myriad of OTT services here locally in Hong Kong. We have newly launched a free TV service, but our premise is not to serve just through the air content to our viewers, but also entertain them on multiple platforms. But as we struggle to find growth beyond Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is a relatively small market, despite the fact that we have market leadership domestically here in Hong Kong, we have been looking to expand addressable market. And because of the OTT video technology, we've now got the opportunity to access much bigger markets like Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, and other markets like Singapore and Philippines as well. So it's been quite a journey. And as we embark into this new journey, we find that our View service, which is now a pan-regional video service, is the market leader in the region. And our viewers are actually consuming this cross-border. They don't really know, whether we're a service based in Hong Kong or elsewhere. They just want great content, and we lead with an Asian-centric content proposition with Korean, Japanese, Taiwanese content, and newly added is our own self-produced View TV local Cantonese content.
Mm-hmm. So how many markets are you in with your on-demand service? About a dozen, I think?
No, we are, in total, we're in 20 markets. Okay. It's only been 18 months, and we're still growing in terms of our footprint, but our job is really monetization. So we have a dual model where getting user is the easy part, right? How do you monetize? I think that's the challenging part. And we recognize that in Asia, the markets are very diverse, whether in terms of technology or whether in terms of ability or willingness to pay. So we've had to adapt our technology to ensure that under different bandwidth conditions, our service is available, accessible, and runs very smoothly in terms of viewing experience. But at the same time, we've had to localize our business models. So we have a dual model where we have a free ad-supported tier, and we have a subscription tier on top of that. So some markets are more ad-supported driven, some markets are more subscription driven.
Mm-hmm. It seems like we have the same viewpoint because we always believe the video content will need to be both ad-supported, also, basically have the subscription because not all the users would want to pay. Some of those will need to be subsidized by advertising dollar, so allowing all the content and to be viewed by as many audience as possible.
Mm-hmm. Can you charge the same amount in all markets, or do you have to change your subscription prices based on the local consumer's ability to pay?
That's a really, really good question because you've got global players who tend to be more one product, one price, and they're a very, formidable competitor in that space. But the way we look at it is, at one price point, you can't serve all market, right? So at, say, a $7.99 price point, US dollars, in the US, a full Comcast package might be $80. In UK, a full Sky package might be £80, right? But if you put that price point into Asia, it doesn't always work because the two markets with the highest pay TV ARPU is already Hong Kong and Singapore, and that's between 25 and 35. Now, the way we look at it is we're priced on the subscription front between $1.99 US to $4.99. So a market like Singapore is closer to $4.99. A market like Philippines is $1.99. And the ad-supported tier is really what helps to build the platform in terms of customer acquisition, but also in someone's got to pay for the content. So in the advertising-supported content.
Mm-hmm. So what's the current split between subscription revenue versus advertising revenue? Can you explain that?
Yeah, so like I said, some markets are more ad skewed, some markets are more subscription skewed, some are pretty even. I would say in the long run, it's still going to be subscription driven because that's more of a recurring revenue scenario, and having built pay TV or subscription services, there are the beauty of subscriptions, which is from a monetization point of view, much more of a steady revenue stream. But we can't underestimate digital advertising because in all the markets that we operate in, digital advertising is growing 11 to maybe 15%, some markets more than that. But video ads is easily growing at 30, 40% because video ads are very sought after. So if you think about it, apart from the big global players, one or two of them, and they're always in the medium mix, there aren't really a lot of destination where you have very concentrated video ad inventory, and that's where we see a role for us to play.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Diane, can you talk a little bit about the video advertising rates that you've seen? And are rates growing? Can you give some
Absolutely. The video advertising is not just about, has always been the only way of helping more of the content reaching the audience. We all know creating content is very hard. I'm sure you would agree, right? The point is, with the video advertising, especially the high quality video advertisement, is recreating the experience like a TV content, like the audience watching a TV. We all know with the new device coming out, a lot of users and audience are moving away from TV just because of the convenience. They can view their content whenever they have time, and they can select the type of content they want to watch, not necessarily have to wait in front of TV to see the content being broadcast. So the audience behavior, the viewing behavior is changing. And then the way that we think about it, especially at Freewheel, is we need to follow where the eyeballs are. We need to follow where the audience are. Therefore, we can recreate that experience, enable the audience to actually watch the content, and also at the same time watching ad-supported content as much as possible. We've seen that has been growing tremendously, especially from Freewheel, because we have a lot of customers from US, where we, basically supporting 90% of the major media company in US is our customer. So we see them, basically starting to put in more and more content to where the user eyeballs are. And then they start to actually put in the advertising and increasing and watching the trend of adding the advertising in those content. They see the users not moving away from them. So that become a way for those video companies, for those content creators to reach a massive audience. And at the same time, they can monetize it in the same way, regardless where the eyeballs are. And the user experience is more like, basically if they have a small iPhone, they can just watch it. And then once they get to the home, and they can watch on the big TV screen, and they will do it that way. So that ultimately enable a better audience experience.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Ray, can you share a little bit about your site and what is your monetization strategy?
I think I have a pretty different view from the two ladies here. I think if we have to talk about subscription or ad-supported video, it's kind of like very 90s to me. Yeah, because all the younger generation, they don't want to pay for anything. Yeah, I don't want to pay for anything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right? Even if it is ad-supported, look at YouTube, right? If YouTube plays a 4 minutes video, but it asks me to view a 30-second ads before, and I can't skip it, I just fucking close it. Yeah. I think that's how impatient I am, right? I assume a lot of people feel the same, right? So I believe the future of video is neither. I think if you are really, really high quality content, it's okay that you ask people to pay. Just like people will still go to a cinema to watch great shows, great movies, right? But if it's just a very casual content, I won't pay. Yeah. But if it is a piece of content that is sponsored by the advertiser, and naturally, not the, hey, you just put a bottle here, that kind of product placement. People hate that. Yeah, but it's very natural to talk about the brands. I think a lot of users don't mind to watch that kind of video. Remember, during World Cup or Olympics, right? We will share the commercials made by Nike or Adidas or all kind of inspirational Dove ads, right? People will share that. It's because people don't really hate ads. They fucking hate irrelevant content, right? If it's a good ad, I don't mind watching it. But if it's a bad content, even if you give me money, I don't watch it. Yeah, that's how we see the evolution of ad or videos. Yeah, to us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So how does your site make money? Is it strictly through advertising? Is there any?
Yeah, advertising. I would say advertising is a very broad term. Yeah, but what we are trying to do is we are moving away from the traditional. Hey, you have to separate ad and also the content. What we are thinking about is, hey, can the content be kind of an ad? But the ad is also a part of content. What we are thinking more about is not about how to make money, but how to give value to the user first. Because if they think that you're giving value to them, then they don't mind investing or paying for you, or they don't mind, watch an ad for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is your company still privately owned?
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the differences. You're talking about PCCW, for example. They're a listed company. They have shareholders demanding profits, so they don't have a lot of time.
Definitely. Another reason is because we are a very small team. Yeah. We only have 30 person in our team, but we serve tons of. In May, 1 month, we serve over 1 billion views just on Instagram alone, right? I bet that is more than but a lot of TV channels in the world, right? I think the reason is, on one hand, people are lazy. They don't even go to a website to check the content. They just check the Instagram, right? When you are sitting on your toilet, how often will you go to Now TV to watch a TV show, right? Only the older generation, they will watch a TV show when they were on MTR, on the train, and then very loudly, or even don't use a headphone, right? Those are the older generation. And I wouldn't say it is dead, but I would say that it is declining in general. Yeah.
Can I pick up on a couple of points there? No, I definitely, there are things I agree and disagree. Let me pick up on what I do agree on. Native ads. So I think, rather than jumping to a conclusion, I do believe, what we're talking about is not necessarily just pre-rolls and mid-rolls, but more native digital ads. That's where it's coming from. I mean, you've got to get revenue from advertising. So I think you are agreeing that advertising is a revenue source that we're all looking at. And you picked up on a good point, which is premium content versus UGC. So I think the differences between some of the services, whether it's Comcast, driven services, or whether it's View, which is not a TV-based service actually in the region. We're purely an a pure OTT play, but we are serving premium content. It's TV series. It's not the Game of Thrones, but HBO Go is also out there. I think depending on the nature of the content, people are willing to pay. What they're willing to pay differs. I think, of course, you see Netflix subscriptions at $7.99, View at $4.99. A full bouquet of a pay TV service is way above that. So I do believe it's segmentation, but also you're right. We are seeing a changing of how people want to subscribe their services. They may not want a full bundle of content. And linear is the past. So even for pay TV services, we don't just offer it through the TV, and most of our content is on demand. And I think it's an important point that and you've seen in this market, traditional cable companies who did not reinvest into more on-demand services have come and gone, and they have been they've dropped from 100% market share to now 30%. So I think reinvestment and thinking about the future is really important. I do believe ultimately at some point monetization and the path to profitability is important. So whether privately held or publicly held, I don't think it makes a difference in the long run.
I also think is that there's a difference between different type of content.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? There is short form content. A short form content is actually, you need to create very short content, probably not as good for like a advertising, because when you come to monetization, nobody will ever want to watch like a minute, short form content with 5 seconds, advertising. However, for the premium content, for premium TV-like content, when you need to actually watch TV series or a film or a movie, okay, created by like large production studio, people don't mind, and then the audience do realize that there are a lot of like a paid subscription service out there, but ultimately in order to watch a large selection of the premium content, those companies do need to eventually basically have both ad-supported content and also the paid subscription service. Because otherwise, if you rely on all the audience to pay for the entire cost of the content, and also distributing all those content, because these days the content get high definition, right? And the higher definition it goes, the better the user experience can create a movie-like experience, in the theater. However, we all know the cost of transmitting those contents go higher and higher, especially as Compass, one of the largest investment we put in is actually the connection, the cable connection to the home, right? That way you can bring, like 4K movies to the user. They can see, they can view like in the theater. And those costs are really high. If you put all of those, basically asking the end audience to pay for all of them, I bet you the monthly subscription fee will be way too high for the individual user to afford.
I think I have a different view on premium content. It's not about how much you invest in making the content. It's whether the viewers feel that this is a premium enough for me to pay. For example, if I'm a gamer, I go to Twitch, right? I pay $4.99 to support just one gamers to just play games, right? Mm-hmm. If you ask my parents, hey, this is crappy content, I won't even watch it if you pay me, right? So I think premium is not whether on the investment cost of making that content, but whether the user feel, hey, this is worth my money. Yeah, and also look at all the live streaming app in China, in Hong Kong, right? People are tipping those idols and stars, right? They do nothing. They just eat noodles and stuff, right? Is this premium content? No, right? To me, no. But to those users, they are premium content.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. This has been a very spirited conversation. So thank you to our panelists. We're out of time.
Thank you.